Hi everyone, Big Finny Head Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Preoccupations album, Arrangements. This is the fourth full-length LP from Calgary rock outfit Preoccupations, which comes several years after their accurately advertised new material in 2018. And yes, the band really did try out some new material on this record. It just so happened to be, in my opinion, their worst material. There were attempts to work electronic and industrial elements into the band's already cold and eerie brand of post-punk, but the end results were pretty dodgy. But Arrangements here is another new step, but this time I think in a better direction, with the smoky and passionate lead vocals as well as the bright and angular guitar leads that we've heard on previous albums, now being met with way more effects and layers of noise, even strings at one point. The result is a series of tracks that comes off a lot darker, more brooding, more shoegazy, and more goth-friendly too. The track list here is built on 7 very patient songs, so it's pretty easy to get a grip of which sections of the record are not working and which ones are, like the album-defining opener Fixed Bayonets, which gives a pretty solid idea of the kind of sonic chaos we're going to be in for the rest of this project. We have lots of sharp and bright guitars layering up gradually against very tight and punchy drums. The song at the core of this track, though, I could kind of take or leave. I wouldn't call it Preoccupations' most sticky lead vocal or melody, but the gradual build of noise and distortion that reaches a fuzzy fever pitch in the last leg is pretty great. Ricochet, by comparison, isn't as heavy on the sound play, but the tune here is a lot snappier, especially with these 80s style synths sliding in on the hook. The light rasp on the vocals as well makes this track feel like something Future Islands would write and record if they were doing a full tour opening up for Sisters of Mercy or Bauhaus. We also have the kind of questionable single Death of Melody, which kind of seems like an experiment to see how much of a slow-burning song could translate through these sort of pitchy, off-kilter, wailing guitar layers on top of it. And the answer is not much. I don't really mind some extra noise in concept. I mean, after all, that is kind of the draw for at least a few other tracks here. But this is the rare instance on this LP where that bit of noise on top of everything felt a little too loose and chaotic and didn't really add to or contribute to the song underneath it. This is handily my least favorite track on the LP, even if it does come together a bit more tightly in the second half. We then have the very haunting Slowly, which, as far as layering goes, reaches some of the most epic highs on the entire LP. Not only that, but the guitar and vocal leads that soar over everything else in the mix are pretty powerful. The whole track is insanely catchy despite it really taking its time progressing. We also have the enchanting and multi-phased Advisor, where we hear a droning, strange, otherworldly intro eventually progressing into these loose psychedelic rock guitars in 3/4, some storybook strings building on top of that as we eventually bust into this driving shoegazy rock passage. Very goth, very dark wave, very subterranean, with fiery vocals calling out through all the sonic haze. It is textured and it's beautiful. Recalibrate, however, feels almost like an extension of some of the more experimental bits from the last record. It is very harsh and very stark in its presentation, some more subtle industrial elements being worked in too, but now with these eerie cultish vocal harmonies calling out against the instrumental. I actually love the whole first half of the song because of the sound palette and instrumental layering that it brings to the table, but it suddenly morphs into these very shrill, blindingly bright psych guitars all of a sudden. This section of the track it suddenly kind of switches to I just don't find to be anywhere near as gratifying. In fact, it feels very tacked on and just not really all that complimentary to everything that had brought us to that point. Then we have the steady closer Tearing Up the Grass, which has the driving repetition of a krautrock or like a David Bowie song, or maybe LCD Soundsystem if they were covered in black leather and eyeliner. But a lot like the opener, I enjoy the tightness of the band here, I enjoy the pacing of it, I enjoy the groove and the repetition of that groove, but the song I'm just not really all that enamored with. The riffs and melodies just don't come off all that memorable. But I can't deny with the band's performance, there is some kinetic energy there. But yeah, overall this record, quality-wise and enjoyment-wise, was a little all over the place. Some songs had a strong song at their core, others didn't. Some tracks had some amazing and fantastic and well crafted sound play, others didn't. But generally speaking, it was pretty cool to hear the band taking a risk in a bit more of a shoegaze direction, I suppose. I'm feeling a strong 6 on this LP. Transition, have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Preoccupations, forever.